Hey everyone, welcome back to this last video in our recipe app series. We'll begin by defining a new variable called startList, which will hold information to be passed to the next screen whenever the user taps on a row in our list. For now, we'll set startList equal to an empty list. Now let me just collapse this block to give us a little more room. And now I'll drag in a food list click event block. Next, we'll set the description list variable to a key value pair from the food list variable. We'll set the key to description. Then attach a select item list from the list named food list, and we'll use the position variable as the index. Now we need to add 1 to our position variable and use that as the index, because our food list component starts with 1, whereas our food list variable starts with 0. Now let's duplicate that block and set up our URL list variable. Now we can populate our startup list with values from the current row in the list. First, we'll set the title. Then repeat the process for the remaining items. Now from Control, drag in and open another screen block. Set the screen name to Meal Detail. And the start value to the start list variable we just populated. Let's test our app. Our main screen is looking good, but tapping on a row brings us to a detail screen, which obviously still needs some work. Let's take care of that right now. From the meal detail screen, place a meal initialize block. Now show the screen's Show Title backbar button to true. This will cause the app to return to the main screen when the backbar button is pressed. Now we can set values for each of the components. First, set the meal image's picture property to the third item in the Get Start value. Remember, this was passed as a list from the main page. And the image was the third item in the Start value list. Now do the same for title, which was the first value in the Start value list. Next comes the subtitle. And lastly, the description, which was the fourth value in the start value list. And while we're here, let's set the title bar back button clicked event as well. So let's switch over to screen 1 and perform one more test. This time, when we tap on a row, our detail screen looks much better. But there is a minor problem. Our subtitle is aligned to the left. So let's switch back to Design Mode, and for Horizontal Alignment 2, set the horizontal alignment to center. So now looking at the detail screen again, it looks perfect. However, clicking on the recipe button doesn't do anything. We want it to launch the recipe screen. So back in the blocks editor, let's add a recipe button click event block. Then add an open another screen with start value block. Set the screen name to a text value of recipe. And duplicate the start value to the start value slot. With this block of code, we are passing in the entire start value list to the recipes page, which includes the URL in item number 5. So let's jump over to the recipes page and see what we can do with that information. So first, select the recipes page, and then add in an initialize event block. For the first action, just as we did with the details page, we want to set the recipe show title backbar button to true. Next, we want to set two properties for our web viewer component. The first property is follow links. We want to set that to false. And we also want to set the enable JavaScript property to false. And finally, we want to set the go to URL block of the web viewer to point to the URL of our meals page. And that is located in item number 5 of our get start value. And let's also program the recipe title bar back button clicked event. And set the action to close the screen. Let's also close the screen when the back button at the bottom of your phone is tapped. For this, we can simply duplicate from the title bar back button clicked event. Now let's also switch over to the meal detail page, bring in a back button block, and close the screen there as well. And for our final block of code, switch over to the main page, add in a back button clicked event block, except this time we will use a close application block instead of a closed screen block. So let's put everything together and do one final test. So we'll switch over to screen 1, and this time we'll click Export. This will download the APK or Android package file to our actual device. Let's test our app. Click on an item. Click the recipe button. There's our recipe. Click back. Back again to the main page. This time, use the back button at the bottom of the screen. Goes back. Back to the main page. Back again, and the application closes. And here is the recipe app icon sitting on our home page. So congratulations! Well done! You are well on your way to becoming an Android apps creator. And as always, thanks for watching.